Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Megan and thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about my journey to my first 100K. This is my very first video here on YouTube. I've been super inspired by other personal finance YouTubers lately. I've been watching budgeters, investors, pretty much everything I can get my eyes on. And I figured this is also a great opportunity for me to document my own journey to my first 100K. So a little bit about me. I am 34 years old. I'm an American citizen, but I am currently living in Dubai. I've been here for about 4 years. I'm here with my partner and my little furry guy just here. Previous to Dubai, I've lived in other places around the world. I've been abroad for about 12 years. So what we're going to be covering here is, yes, my journey, and also a little bit about living abroad, how it is tracking and investing in the US stock market, even though you don't live there. I started taking my personal finances seriously about 2 years ago. I started budgeting, I started tracking, I started watching every dollar that was going in or out. And that is when I really started to see a difference. My very first month tracking my net worth was January of 2023. And I can think back of where I was headspace at that time. And I had a little bit of money in the bank, but I had a lot of things that were coming up. I had student loans that were in COVID forbearance that were going to be coming out later in the year that I didn't feel ready for. I didn't have anything saved for retirement. I had very few accounts open. I wasn't earning money on any of my money, and I felt really uncertain and really stuck. So in the first 3 months of 2023, I really started the ball rolling. So like I said, I started budgeting, I started tracking my expenses, I opened accounts, I opened a credit card at home, I opened a high yield savings account to start saving to pay back my student loans. I had about $8,000 left to pay, and I knew I wanted to pay it off as quickly as I could. So at that time, my net worth was about $13,250, and I felt pretty confident about that number. I was really pleasantly surprised when I worked it out that it was actually positive. I worked really hard throughout the year. I caught up on a lot of things. So like I said, I opened accounts, I opened my Roth IRA, I started funding a brokerage account, I got up to date on my taxes. There were a lot of things that were happening throughout the year, and I finished the year at $37,871 net worth, which was an increase of about $24,600. I was super proud of that number. A lot of it just came from getting things in order, getting my spending under control. Not that it was out of control, but at least knowing where my money was going, what I was spending on, and how much in each category. So that brings me to 2024. So I started the year at $37,000. I am now filming this in December of 2024. So at the end of November, I was sitting at $54,000 net worth, which was an increase of about $16,000 so far this year. The year is not over, so that will go up a little bit more, hopefully in the month of December. But obviously it was a little bit of a slower year this year so far, but I'm still quite proud of the progress that I've made. It's going in the right direction, which I'm pleased with. But now that I've had 2 years under my belt, I really want to make this number grow faster. So as you can tell, I am already about halfway to my 100K. That took me, I guess, a little less than 2 years because I started at 13K. But I'd really like for this to happen a bit quicker now. They say that the first 100K is the hardest part of your financial journey. So I'd love to get to this milestone, and hopefully the hard work becomes easier. So I'll talk a little bit about the strategy that I'm going to be using moving forward. And if I'm totally honest, it's going to be a lot of the same. I will continue budgeting, I will continue tracking. That is what's made the biggest difference on my finances in these last 2 years. You can't measure what you don't track, or you don't grow what you don't measure, however the saying goes. And that's really true for me and my own personal finance journey. I will continue investing. So right now I have a Roth IRA, a brokerage account, and a small crypto account. I will fully fund my Roth IRA for 2024 next month. And then in 2025, I will fully fund that again. And then anything outside of that will go into my brokerage fund. My full-time job here doesn't provide a retirement account or retirement savings. So everything that I'm investing is for my retirement. I'll also be increasing my cash savings. So I do have about a 6 to 7 month emergency fund in place that will cover all of my expenses for about 6 to 7 months. I will be increasing that this year as well. Because we live abroad and because we know we aren't settled here forever, we are making plans for whatever might be next. I want to make sure I have enough cash on hand for whatever is next. Outside of that, this year I also have a goal to open more sinking funds. So at the moment I do have a vacation sinking fund. I keep that money in a US bank account, in a high yield savings account back in the States. And now this year I would like to increase the number of sinking funds that I'm using for different purposes. Things like car maintenance and insurance, things like gifts or certain splurges that I want to do for myself or for my partner. I want to be able to make those purchases without having a massive impact on my monthly budget. So that's on the goal list for this year as well. I will come out with a full video on what my goals are, specific numbers and all of that. But yeah, sinking funds are definitely on the list for this year. And then the last strategy that I am going to be focusing on is something that I haven't really focused on for the last couple of years, is increasing my income. So I've been at my full-time job for about 2.5 years. I'm good at my job, and I do anticipate seeing an increase in either as a promotion or just as an increment in my salary. Either of those would get me closer to my goals. And then outside of that, I want to be earning money elsewhere. For me, it's really important to not rely solely on one source of income. So right now, of course, I have my full-time job. I do have dividends and interest that I get from my accounts and from my investments, but it's definitely not enough to live on. It is more of a trickle than a flow. So I would like to make sure that I have several streams of income coming in. And then lastly, let's talk about my timeline. So about 2 years ago, when I started this journey, I made a goal for myself to hit 100K by the time I'm 40. However, now that I've been tracking for a little while and I can see what's possible, I think it's definitely doable to do that a lot sooner. So ideally, I will hit that 100K mark in 2026. I don't think it'll happen in 2025, but 2026, I will either be 35 or 36, depending on the time of year that I hit it. And then I will move on to the next goal. So this is going to be my big focus for 2025 and into 2026 is hitting that first 100K mark. I hope you will tune in to see how I'm doing. I will be sharing my budgets. I will be sharing my net worth trackers. I will be sharing real numbers with you guys, both goals and progress and hiccups. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. If anyone is seeing this, I'd love if you could leave a comment below. Hopefully we can grow a small community of like-minded people who are also on their own financial journeys. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.